So what the heck is going on with the Florida real estate market? What's going on with the Sarasota real estate market? That's what this video is about. So it seems like forever people have been talking about how the Florida market is crashing, Sarasota is crashing. You watch YouTube videos, a lot of them are calling a crash. It seems like for 2 years already. But is that really true? And so in this video, we're going to look at data to get a better understanding of what's been happening in the Sarasota market. Prior to getting into the data, I'm going to review a few headlines just to kind of get our bearings, and then we're going to dive in deeply. The intention still is to show you the data so you have a really good idea of what's been happening since COVID years. My name is Katrin Fitznoid. I'm a real estate agent in Sarasota, Bradenton, Venice, and Lakewood Ranch. If you're looking to purchase or sell in the area, call me anytime. I truly love hearing from all of you, teaming up with you, and yeah, let's get right into this video. So the Fed has been raising the Fed interest rate 9 times since March of last year, and beginning of last year, everybody was storming into the marketplace to purchase up more and more homes before the interest rates, the mortgage interest rates, were just about to turn. And so when we look at median prices, it really went sky high in Q1 up until about Q2 of last year. And so a lot of people were saying, even prior to that actually, a lot of people were saying that this is a bubble. Prices are going to come down. Prices have come down. And so a lot of people on YouTube were comparing how the median prices were starting to come down in the summertime into Q3 and Q4, so the winter season. But what they failed to really acknowledge is the fact that there's seasonality in how people purchase homes, right? There's usually more people in Q1 and Q2 purchasing a home. Also when we'll see more listings come on the market to take advantage of this buyer traffic. And so when we look at median prices, there's seasonality built into it where it starts going up and then it peaks right around May and June in Sarasota, and then it drops after the summertime right into the winter, goes back up in the beginning of the year. And so when we look at data, we compare the median price, not just in terms of how it's been trending month over month, but we got to look at it in terms of this same time period last year. I think that's a much better indication of whether or not prices are heading downwards or upwards because of seasonality. Before we even get into the data, I can tell you just high level that the market has not crashed in Florida, has not crashed in Sarasota. Prices are holding steady. Of course, it depends on what location you're at. In Florida, there might actually be a town where prices are below same time last year. But when we look at just overall Florida numbers and then Sarasota numbers, prices are holding. And you may ask yourself, well, how is that possible when we know that there's way less home sales happening this year? That's because of the supply and demand balance. That's what drives prices. Just because the number of home sales have dropped doesn't mean that the prices are going to be dropping if there's still enough demand to keep prices at the same level they were same time last year. And that's essentially what's been happening right now. Yes, number of homes are down, but there's enough buyers to satisfy the current price ask as long as it's a fair market value price. And you gotta remember, in 2021, 2022, there was so much demand for Florida living that it wasn't unrealistic to find bids on a home that were maybe 20 or 30 people bidding on a home. Now, with mortgage rates increasing or having increased since then, that took a big chunk of buyers out of the market, but there's still enough in the market. And the key statistics, you need to know that about 30% of the offers that are accepted are cash offers. 30% of people. That's a lot of people that are able to purchase. Let's review a quick statement in Forbes Advisor that really summarizes what economists feel about the housing market in 2023, moving into 2024. And it's in this section here. Will the housing market crash? Due in part to the ongoing inventory problem keeping home prices elevated, many economists predict the housing market is more likely to correct itself from the double-digit percentage jumps seen in home prices the past few years rather than crash. If we look at the average appreciation over the last few years, it hovered at around 4.5%. But that wasn't true in 2021 and 2022 when it just went crazy. crazy. And so when we look at the housing market, we're looking at a correction where things are just going to come back to normal versus these absurd double-digit appreciations that just aren't sustainable. Here's another interesting piece in an article from the Miami Herald, and it alludes to what's going on in Florida. While the U.S. housing market in February faltered, snapping a streak of almost 11 years of monthly price jumps, where it actually went down by 0.2%. The media just made a big deal out of it, but what's really 0.2% during a time when the prices appreciated really quickly? It's a much different story in South Florida, where the housing sector keeps getting pricier as overall sales dwindle. I'm in MarketQuest, which is working off MLS data. It's just a very nice platform to see how things are trending over time very visually. I have single family homes selected because most of you guys are interested in single family homes, and it's also a good way to understand what's been happening in the market. So it's a great way to gauge the market performance. And I typically like to look at the median price. This is the median price right here, versus the average price, which is the gray line here, because the median price is really the price that's kind of in the middle of the entire data set for that time period, versus a really expensive property is being sold, say a $20 or $30 million property. That's going to increase the average price quite a bit, and it can be somewhat misleading. You can actually see it from this curve here, or this line here. It just fluctuates quite a bit, where with the median price it's much steadier. And so most economists will actually say that a much better indicator of how the market is fluctuating or how it's trending is to look at the median sales price. So that's what we're going to do here today. So we talked about seasonality, right? Prices usually go up in the beginning of the year, and you can see it right here in 2022, though it was a bit exaggerated last year because of this mad rush, right, prior to the mortgage rates turning. And then it starts dipping in the summertime and goes down in the winter, and then it goes back up again right around January, and that's what you're seeing here. This is 2023. So if we look at March 2023, the price came in, the median price came in at $549,000, which is essentially what you can expect to pay on average for a single family home here in Sarasota right now. And that price is, if we compare it to the same time last year, up by 8%, where last year it was $500,000. So we got to look at the prices same time last year because of seasonality. All right, let's look at the sales price, list price during 2022, when the prices appreciated very fast in Q1, Q2. Look at the sales price, list price. At one point it reached almost 103%, which basically means that on average a seller would get 3% over their asking price. And now it is 97%. So sellers are getting 97% on average of what they're asking for, really close to the asking price. And so I hear a lot of you guys talking about these massive price reductions in the market. There's two things that are happening here, or could be happening here. A, the home was way overpriced versus fair market value, or the home just needed a lot of work because buyers are becoming a lot choosier, and they're going for the properties that are nicer, that show nicer, and need a little bit less work, unless you're somebody that's looking to flip. But there's far less of those types of buyers out there right now. Average days on market in March came out to 50 days. So that's the number of days of properties on the market before it sells. If we compare it to the same time last year came in at 22, and that's more than half of what it is this time around in March. But if we compare it to, say, 2020, it really isn't that bad. Let's look at inventory. This is one of the reasons why the prices are holding. Yes, we have less buyers in the market, but we also have less listings in inventory, where in the beginning of 2020, it was at 1,577. This is actually April of 2020. This time around in March, we have 905 units of properties on the market. If we look at it in terms of months of supply of inventory as of March, it was just a little bit over 2.17 over 2 months, when in a healthy market, the rule of thumb is you want 6 months of inventory. The housing market has been very sensitive towards the mortgage interest rates, right? So as they went up, Lots of buyers went out of the market either because it wasn't affordable to them anymore, or perhaps they just thought it's better off. I'm better off just waiting on the sidelines right now. So if the mortgage interest rates go back up again, and I do think it's going to fluctuate a bit over this remainder of the year, I do think that we're going to see the median prices doing a little bit of that. It's going to fluctuate, right? But if we see 1 month's period where it's going to be below last year, I don't think that's going to be a moment of panic, because last year, just about at this time, it truly kind of started reaching the peak. And I think that's going to be really, really hard to overcome this year. But I think when we look at 2023 in general, overall, we'll probably be above last year. Now, I hope you found value in this video. If you did, please do me a favor and like this video. If you're somebody that wants to know specifically what's been going on in terms of a community in Sarasota, or maybe a zip code, I can easily run a data analysis for you. You just call me, email me anytime, and it would be my pleasure to send that over to you. Thank you so much for watching today. I always appreciate it when you guys do. Take care.